Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we'll be looking at variables in the Zig programming language. And before we go forward on coding, we must ask ourselves, what is a variable? So according to the documentation in the Zig programming language website, they are saying a variable is just a unit of memory storage.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So what do they mean? So when you declare a variable inside your program, memory is being allocated for that variable. And for example, if you want to store data inside your program, so you can see variables as a way of storing data inside your program. So if you want to store, let's say, a number inside your program, you have to declare a variable whereby you will assign it a value and an identifier, which will be used to fetch or to identify the variable inside your program. So it is much easier seeing it than explaining it in theory. So without much further delay, let's get straight into the code. So I've opened my editor, Visual Studio Code, and I've created this main.zig file over here. So let us write the bare bones of a Zig program, and I will start by defining or importing the standard library. So const std is equals to let us import std, then don't forget terminating it with a semicolon. So after that, let us get straight into the main function. I declare it, so pub fn main. So if you hadn't watched my previous video, I've explained this code in the previous video, so go back and see it. Then let us say the return type. So we ain't returning anything, so I will say exclamation mark void. So as you can remember, the exclamation mark means that the function may return an error or may not return anything. So and this is the main entry point of our program in Zig. So after doing that, let us go ahead and declare a variable. So from the word variable means that something is varying, so it can change from time to time. So you can use the keyword var to declare something. If you have a variable that you know that will change over time, you use the var keyword. But if you know that you won't mutate or you won't change this variable, you can just use const, meaning that this variable will not change. So let us start with const. For example, you want to store a number, so const number is equals to something like 32. So this is what we are saying, it's a variable. So a variable has a name or an identifier, and followed by the value. So this equal sign, it's not an equal sign. In programming, this is an assignment sign. So we are saying that we are assigning the number 32 to this variable over here, and it's called number. So when you do this, what happens behind the scenes is that memory is being allocated on your RAM, and inside that memory the number 32 is being stored. Then it's given an identifier of number. So if you go and visit that memory, you will see the value 32 and this number. So in much details, there is also an address that is being returned when the allocation has been done successfully, and with that memory address, you can still access this value over here. So this is what we are calling a variable. So you can see, you ask yourself if you are declaring or you are storing a variable that may change over time, so you can use the keyword var. So var like this. So this is when you are sure that this value will change over time. So when I say var, I can go ahead and mutate or change the value by saying number, the name of the variable, then I will give it another new value 34, like that. So this is what we are calling a var. So but if you are sure you won't mutate or you won't change this variable, just use the const keyword. So I will go ahead and just use const. So it is good practice to use const wherever you can, because it may help in some optimization, because this value during compile time is already known by the compiler. So let's go ahead and print or see or print this variable over here. So if you can remember, we saw the print function in the standard function. So I will go ahead and say std.debug.print, yes, like that, semicolon. Then I will go ahead and type this print formatters, meaning this is where we'll specify what are we printing on the console. So we are printing a number, so the specifier or the formatter or the letter that is being used to specify that we are printing a number is D, meaning that we are printing a whole number or an integer, then followed by a comma, then followed by a dot, then this set of curly braces. Then here is whereby we'll write the name of the variable, which is number, like that. So let us run our program. So you can open your terminal by clicking Ctrl Shift and backtick. Then let us build it. So we can just do zig run, then the name of our file main.zig, then press on enter. So you can wait for it to build and run. So you can see it has printed the value 32. So here you can append some text. You can say something like the variable number value is, so this is optional, it's not a must, so you can just do that. Then you run your code again by doing zig run main.zig. So you can see the variable number value is 32. So this is what we are referring as variable. So we are just allocating or declaring something which will be allocated in our RAM. So this in this case, this is an integer, and normally an integer takes 4 bytes of memory inside your program. So when the compiler comes here, it will go to the stack or heap. So stack or heap is just a type of memory which is used in a program. So it will assign 4 bytes of data or 4 bytes of memory, and this number over here will be stored over here. So this is a constant value, so meaning that we won't come here and change this value later on. So like this, I can't do this, so this will be illegal. So number is equals to 35. This will be illegal because we have said that this is a constant. So if I run it, so I can say zig run main.zig. You can see I am greeted with an error, and the error says that cannot assign to constant. But if I want to change it, I can do like this. So I can just change const to var, meaning that this may change during program execution or program runtime. So this will be acceptable. So if I run it again, so you can see we having an error here. We're saying variable of type comp type int must be const or comp time. So to modify the variable at runtime, it must be an explicit fixed size number type. So you are not allowed also to do this even when you have used var. You have to specify the type or the type that you're using. So I will go ahead and use an assigned 8 or 1 byte or 8-bit integer like this. So this is what we are saying, that this is a type of this. So this initially, this U8 means that we are assigning a byte or 8-bit to our variable number. So this, when the compiler comes here, it will see that it has to assign an 8-bit or a 1-byte memory for us to store this 32. So we'll see these types, or yes, let me call type each type. So we'll see these types in much details in later videos. So let me go here and run it. So you can see that it has mutated our variable. Now it was 32, but we changed it over here. Now it is 35. So if you have noted that if you want to mutate it, you must first start by changing const to var, then give it a type, which is there is U8, meaning unassigned 8-bit or 1 byte of memory, then followed by the value. So unassigned means that it cannot be a negative number, it's positive. So that's what we are meaning by saying unassigned. But when I say signed, it means that the value might be a negative number. So like that. So remember, if you want to mutate a variable, you have to include the type over here, or the memory that you want to be allocated. So this is a number. So you can go ahead and let us declare another variable. So let me say const name is equals to, you can say, Mary, like that. So if I want to print this over here, let me just remove this over here. I will change this specifier from D to S, meaning that I want to print a string. So this is what we are calling a string, and a string is just a sequence of characters. So you can see the word Mary, it is a sequence of character containing M, A, R, and Y. So those are characters, single characters, but if you smush them or you squash them together, they make a string, so a sequence of characters. So Mary, so you have to change the specifier from D to S, meaning you want to print a string, then the name of the variable, so name. So let us go ahead and run it and see if it will print on the console. So we are greeted by another error. So Zig doesn't allow you to just declare variables and you are not using them. So as you can see, we had declared this variable over here, but we are not using it anywhere in our program here. We are not calling it, or we are not using it in our program. So what I have to do is just I can comment the code or delete it. So this is what we are calling comments. So comments are a way of documenting your code, so and it will be ignored by the compiler when it won't be run. So it's just a way to document your code. So I can come here and write something like variables in C. So you can comment or you can document your code using these comments, and they will be ignored when the program is being run or compiled. So after doing that, so you can see you cannot declare variables and not use them, so you have to use them. But if you are not using them, you can just delete them. So let us go ahead and run the program again. So you can see it has printed the word or the string Mary. So we have seen numbers. So this is a number, so the U8. We have seen a string. So you can even store floating points, so or decimal points. So I will go ahead and declare another variable called pi, then 3.2 or 14142. Then go ahead here and change it to F if I'm not wrong. Then the variable pi, and let me run it again. So you can see unused, so you can remove this one over here because we are not using it, or I will comment it. So then I'll try running it again. So you can see we have an error, and it's invalid format string F for comp type float. So let me remove this F and leave it empty, and let us run it again. So you can see it has printed our floating point over here, but it has some strange characters over here which I don't know, but I'll make sure I've done my research and come back with an answer. But know that if this is a floating point or a decimal point over here, so you can specify the type of this explicitly by saying F16, so meaning a 16-bit or 2 bytes. You are allocating 2 bytes of memory to store this value over here. So this is 16-bit floating point. So you can go 32, there is 64, and then 128. Yes, but the simplest one is the 16-bit over here, meaning 2 bytes. So this is how you declare variables in Zig programming language. So if you have any questions about today's topic, you can just leave a comment below. I will be happy to see it and answer it. So if this video has helped you to understand a thing or two, just leave a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for your time, and I will see you on the next video.